Hello, I'm Hrutkay Mods, and welcome to episode 20 of season 4 of my PowerPC series, the last episode of season 4. And like every last episode of every season, I like to introduce a special Mac that has something special about it, or does something special, or just is a special system in general. And today I'd like to introduce you to the early 2003 PowerBook G4 17-inch. Which is very unique and special in many different ways. This system right here, we're going to go do more like a season 1 episode where we're going to talk about the whole system, all the OSs it's running, all the ports in it, all this other stuff, and what it can and can't do. Like, it does not support OS9, it can't run OS9. We'll get into that. It's really cool. It's a fun system. This is the first real modern Mac for a lot of things, like it has Airport Extreme Wireless G in it. It did not get USB 2. That didn't happen until mid-03. So you have to actually have a card in it if you want USB 2, which I've got one in it. But other than the lack of USB 2, it's super modern. This system runs on DDR RAM. It's got, it can take a max of 2 gigs, even though Apple originally said it would only take a gig. And it's just a really fun, fast system. And this system is leaps and bounds in performance over the 1 gigahertz titanium that came out the year before. In fact, this system is just, it's better in every way, more or less. Now, this system does have a few flaws here and there that we'll talk about later in the video, but it can get the job done. And a quick backstory on why I have this system and how long I've had it. I've had it since about 2017. In fact, this was in the season finale of one of the other seasons of this series, where I was talking about my headless G4 iMac, my first Mac. This was the system that OS9 was running off of in target disk mode on that system. And this system has only been in two videos maybe. It was also in the background of my Black Book assembly video. I was using it in the iFixit guides on this to figure out how to assemble the Black Book. So I do use this. This is my when I need a computer in a pinch and I can't find a working Intel Mac, I use this system over here when I need to look up something. It does its job well. And the backstory on this, just briefly, Dan Bashir from Low End Mac and I and a few other people were talking about what is the ultimate OS9 gaming system that's mobile. And everyone kept coming up with the G4 Titanium, which had the Radeon 9000 graphics in it, 64 megs of video RAM and all that stuff, and a 1 gigahertz G4. It only takes 1 gig of RAM. You know, it's got SD RAM in it, so a little backdated compared to this. This he suggested, and this he talked me into getting, basically. And in fact, I named this after him. This is Dan, in honor of Dan Bashir. And he said it's really easy to run OS9 on it, and it really is really easy to get OS9 on it. Early 2003 Macs just run OS9 fine. They just wrote it out the ROM. You couldn't natively install it. And it's really easy to make it work. And we'll talk about how that works. But he said it's a 17-inch, it's got a GeForce 4 MX in it, 64 megs of RAM. All the main hardware is 100% OS9 compatible. And, I mean, 17-inch screen. And this resolution is amazing in OS9. And this is able to play basically any OS9 game, basically maxed out. It does it really well. And it's great because you can travel with it, and the battery still works. I mean, that's cool. The battery was dead when I plugged it in, so I'm not going to leave it plugged. But the battery works, okay? But anyway, this is the ultimate OS9 gaming machine mobile-wise, and it could also be upgradable. It's running 2 gigs of DDR, and it can run a better, faster CPU, and I might one day have Colin Mister do something with it. But anyway, guys, we're going today just talk about this, show you everything about it, show you the OS this is running, what it can do, and we will wrap up the video and just do it like an old school PowerPC series video. So yeah, what the heck, let's get to it. Alright guys, so I apologize, I haven't really cleaned this thing, and it looks a lot cleaner when there's not lights on it. I didn't realize it was quite this dirty. This is actually an almost flawless case. It's in really good shape. It's just really dirty because it's been sitting, and I've been using it for other things other than what I actually bought it for, was the game on OS9. But anyway, it's actually been a very useful system, but it's also now very nasty. So yeah, these should wipe right off with the right aluminum wipes and stuff. But you know. But anyway, getting to the point here, before we show you the whole system, I want to show you something really neat. We're running Leopard right now, and the reason is this is the original battery that came with this system originally from the factory, from what I can tell. If you open up coconut battery, this system still has 94% of its original battery life left on it. And this has only been charging right now for about an hour. And it was completely flat. And if I unplug it, it stays on, it keeps working. This battery only has 180 load cycles on it, and this battery still works perfectly. So, anyway, I wanted to show you that real quick, and I figure, well, since we're already in here, we might as well go through the specs of this system. We've got the 1 gigahertz PowerPC G4, got 2 gigs of DDR3, and like I said, Apple originally only supported 1 gig on here. According to them, that's all it supported. It runs 2 with no issues whatsoever. Here's all the specs on the G4, and let's see here. It's running the GeForce 4MX in it, like I said earlier. It's running a 14x40x900, and this system, it works really well. I believe I'm running a regular hard drive in it right now. It might help if I click on the right one. It's ATA. Yeah, it's running a regular hard drive in it right now. It's a 60 gig, it looks like. I never finished upgrading this. We're putting SSD in it. We may do that in a video in the future. That might be fun. But yeah, that's the basic tech specs of this thing. It is in really, 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 really good shape. It's quite impressive just how good of a shape this system is. And I mean, this battery is perfect. It works totally fine. And you don't see that very often, especially something that is 20 years old. And this thing is over 20 years old now, and battery's still perfect. So that's crazy. So we're going to shut it down real quick, and then we'll go over everything on this system, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're still on my patented shaky cam here. Hi. We'll try to keep that stable for you. Let's go over everything on this system and show you every nook and cranny and all the features of it. So first off, we've got the latch with power light on it right here. It's got that magnetic hook latch thing here that when it gets close, the hooks come down from the screen and then clips in, and it actually still works, which is a rarity on a lot of these systems. It's got a DVD burner slot drive there. And on this side, we have USB 1.1, FireWire 400, FireWire 800, and it's not focusing very well. Anyway, USB 1.1, FireWire 400, FireWire 800, Ethernet, I think this is gigabit. It might be gigabit. Yeah, I believe that's gigabit. And then we have S-Video out and DVI out. On the back is, of course, the hinges, because this was the first system that had side-mounted ports in it instead of the back-mounted ports. This is the first system that did that. Then on this side, we've got a Kensington lock, the power port, modem, another 1.1 USB, and then we've got my USB 2.0 card here in the expansion slot for the PCMCIA right here. And this will allow you to have the USB 2. Then if you notice, actually let's leave that out. Then if you notice here, there's something weird sticking out this port. And this is the microphone jack, and this is the audio out jack for the headphones. Why do I have this thing in here? Okay, that's one of the things with OS9 that we'll talk about. This right here is OS9 100% supports the sound hardware in this, except OS9 treats it as a headphone jack, even for the speakers that are actually built into the system. Let's see if I can get this back up here. I can't. It keeps sliding. Come on, open. Anyway, so these speakers here work in every OS, of course, with no problem, except in OS9. These won't even turn on unless you have something in the headphone jack. You don't have to have headphones in it, though. I made this dongle. This is a dummy plug. This is made out of some cheap knockoff headset that I had, or some cheap auxiliary cable. I cut the end of it off, and then I smoothed the end of it down and put some JB Weld on it so it just wouldn't get in the way. And when I'm using OS 10, I leave this in a microphone jack because I never use a microphone on this. This is actually line in, I think, not microphone. I just leave it in there. But when I want to use OS 9, I just pull this out, plug it into the headphone jack, and the speakers turn on, and they work. So we've got line out and the headphone jack there. We'll put this back here for now so I don't forget. Then, if we flip it over, we've got the battery. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the original battery. And there's all the original factory specs. It originally came, well, let's spin it around so you can actually see it. And there's this case is in such good shape, it still has the original printing on the bottom of it. And it's you can read it without any issue. There's like one little scratch in it. That's amazing. But anyway, here's the original specs. It came with Bluetooth and Ethernet, Airport Extreme, all that stuff. This was, like I said, the first 17-inch PowerBook. It came with 1 gigahertz, 512 megs of RAM, 60 gig drive, and super drive. It's got the original hard drive, super drive, and CPU, and of course we upgraded the RAM. So that's basically the whole case, minus, let's show you the keyboard and stuff. This is just a regular old aluminum keyboard. Well, for an aluminum system. Of course, this isn't aluminum. These are plastic keycaps. But just a normal keyboard. This is basically more or less the same keyboard they used up until like mid-2007 with all the same functionality, all the same labels and everything. There's the power button, and that's the whole system more or less. Very interesting, very neat system. Very pretty and very modern looking still today. So I'll put the battery back in, get it all set back up, and we'll continue on from there. Okay, so we'll power this thing on before I even plug it in, just to, of course, show you the battery does work quite well. But there is one little issue that we may run across. There's one little hardware issue that I've had with this since day one of getting it. Occasionally the screen would start freaking out and stop working, and if you angled the screen just right, it would start working again. And then eventually that went away and it worked fine. But first time I powered it on today, before I started filming, had been the first time I'd powered it on in about maybe a year, and it had no screen at all, and I thought the screen had finally gone. But apparently for some reason it just sometimes doesn't turn on until you get it booted into the OS, put it into sleep, and then take it out of sleep. The thing is, you've got to actually have a monitor plugged in at the time for it to kick it on. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with it. But we're going to see if the screen turns on and actually does something first, and we'll let it boot into an OS. I don't think it's going to turn the screen on. It looks awfully dark. It is on. It's not doing anything. So it's time to get fancy here and try to get the darn screen to come back on again. That's the only drawback of this particular system. I've got to fix it. I'm hoping it's a loose connector, so I am going to plug this in real quick, if I can figure out where the plug fell to. There we go. And I am going to plug an external monitor back into it and try to get the screen to turn on, because all the videos that we've been doing has been with it constantly being on. If you restart it into the next operating system, the screen stays on. So it might be a hardware issue. It's not detecting the internal display properly. It could be open firmware. It could be a lot of things. So we'll try to fix that real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so the computer is on. It should be fully booted into Leopard already. So let's plug this in here. It's actually reset the internal clock battery, which makes no sense because it's got a fully functional battery. A little weird. But anyway, so let's see if this fixes it again. Sleep. Let it go into sleep. It's in sleep. Enter. Turn it back on. See if it turns the screen on. It did not turn the screen back on. That could be a bad sign. This could be a very short video if the screen doesn't turn back on. It's not seeing the internal display. Let's try sleep again. Ah, there it goes. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with the screen, but it does eventually start working. I wish it would stop showing the networks. There we go. So, we got the screen back on. So now, we can do this. Yoink. It works again. The problem is the next time I shut it down completely, it won't work again. So, I don't know why it's doing that. It's one of those things I'll have to figure out when I finally open it to actually fix it and clean it and upgrade it. Most I've done is literally open up the RAM tray and upgrade the RAM. So now what we're going to do is try to get you guys zoomed into this screen and show you some functionality of this system here. Is this still a useful system in 2023? We will find out. I don't even know what version of 10.4 Fox is on this thing. I know it's one of the last versions. I don't know exactly which version. So I am going to quickly get this on my network so it will stop telling me that there's no network connection, and I'll be right back. There we go. It's on the network. The time's correct now. So what we're going to do, we are currently in Leopard. So let's show you some Leopard things. This is actually a full copy of Leopard. This is not sorbet or anything like that. So you'll see exactly just how snappy this system actually really was, even back in the day. I mean, it will load stuff quite fast. I mean, everything just pops up and works. For the most part, I mean, it's still running off a hard drive, but I mean, you can open up PowerPC App Store and it will just work. Okay, the hard drive does slow it down a bit, but still, it's pretty snappy considering. Wow, that is a slow hard drive. Okay, yeah, it does need an SSD. There we go. There's the old PowerPC App Store, which I don't think is being updated anymore. Kind of a shame. This is also one of the last systems that didn't have multi-gesture tapping and stuff on the trackpad. You can't two-finger to right-click and stuff. That was the only other real major drawback of this. But let's see what version of 10.4 Fox this has on it. We are running FPR 12 from 2019, so it's running a very, very old version of 10.4 Fox. It's still got my Ad Blocker Pro and everything on it. I set that thing up a long time ago. So what I am going to do is I'm going to quickly download a new browser, and then we'll continue from there. That is some fast wireless G there. 50 megabyte file in about 20 seconds or so. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so we've downloaded Interweb PPC. This is the most recent, release 4. And we are ready to try out and see exactly what this thing can do, because I'm not even sure what it can do. It's been a while since I've been on here. So let's try YouTube. This is all real time right now. Unless it takes too long, and then I'll speed it up. But right now, this is real time. Wow, it's not super impressive. All right, let's speed it up. It didn't even type in what I typed in. It started. What? It's not typing again. It's not looking promising. And honestly, I don't think it's the browser, I think it's the hard drive. My hard drive might be getting sick. Then again, this hard drive's 20 years old, and it's still trying to load something. Oh boy. As the time of filming, episode 19 hasn't even posted yet. It actually posts later today. So the most recent video I currently have on here is the world's fastest mid-2012. Let's just see if it will load it. Wow, that's painfully slow. It's doing it though, kinda. I think we should try this with an SSD in the future, because I think that's one of the big problems with it. It's getting so hot now the fans are kicking on. And it still hasn't loaded the video. This is not promising. Well, it's been 6 minutes into recording this, almost 6.5 minutes, exactly 6.5 minutes, and it's still trying to load. I think we're going to call it. I know this thing should be able to run YouTube. Even in 2017, this thing could do it. And YouTube, believe it or not, hasn't changed as much as you'd think when it comes to APIs and stuff. I'm thinking the hard drive's just not happy anymore. I don't know. It's not doing anything now. I think it might have froze. So let's just cancel that out. Or Squick. Yeah, it definitely froze. I wonder if 10.4 Fox would actually load YouTube. And this is an old copy too, so I'll be a little surprised if it does, but it might. Have to remove ad blocker. If anything, right now it's running faster. The new interweb PPC might just not work. So, I don't know. It's interesting that 10.4 Fox is sort of working. Now this is already here. This is the video I probably watched on here to see if YouTube worked. Season 2, Episode 4 of the PowerPC series. When I was talking about my 12-inch PowerBook G4. It's opening up YouTube Mobile. Interesting. It's loading faster. Ha! It's trying to play the video. So interweb might just not be working. It's not playing the video very well. It looks like GPU artifacting. Well, that's not a good sign. This thing actually might be dying on me.
Equal or number 2 now to my Pismo, but still, it was the first Bastille I ever had, besides the blue and white, of course. But it trumped that
does
out,
not excite me. That worries the heck out of me.
I'm sure you will agree. A very
this system might be getting sick.
What this system
is. It's still playing the video after I closed it. There we go. I don't know if that's artifacting or not. I need to do some actual tests here real quick, because that might be why the screen keeps randomly not working. I'll be right back. The screen is starting to artifact. We may be wrapping up this video very soon, because you can see it's not good. Maybe it's just the screen. Where is the monitor? Wire. See if it's artifacting on the monitor. If it's not, that means I've got a bad display connection somewhere. Okay, well that's a good sign. So, you see the artifacting around the wheels on this Corvette? There are none. So that's a good sign. That means it's not It's not non-repairable hardware related. It means something's going on with the LCD. I don't know what to do right now because I want to finish this video. So, yeah, I'm thinking the display cable's messed up. Let's unplug the other screen. We'll close it, let it go into sleep. And then I'll open it back up and see if that fixed it. It turned on and then it went off. I'm thinking the screen's finally going out. Well, crap. 1 second. Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here because hit screen's working. It's detecting this screen and it's blue. I'm about to give up here. We may be filming this off a studio display to finish this video. I'd rather not though, because I've had this thing working almost flawlessly other than the occasional hiccup since I got it. So I'm going to keep troubleshooting it, I guess. Well, I can't just film a blue screen plus it's freaking out the camera. So we may have to go to the studio display. I can't, for some reason, get it to work. And I can't find my cinema display I was going to use. So, yeah. This is very disappointing, but I mean, the system is 20 years old. And I've been meaning to go into it for a while now. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. I've restarted the thing. I don't even know if it's on now. The screen won't even turn on now on there, and it's plugged in. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I don't know what to do. So this isn't the last episode of the season. We are going to have an episode 21 like we did last season, because I don't want to end on a cliffhanger here, and I don't want this thing to be broken, so we are going to have to fix it in the next video, I guess. Psych! It's working again, sorta. Yeah, sorry if you get epilepsy really easy. Hey! The screen came on! This was just the first power on when I was getting ready to take the thing apart. So, well, let's keep filming. Okay, so what I did to make it work is I just lightly smacked the hinge and display area down the bottom right here lightly on the table and turned it on again, and it did that freakiness, and then it works. And it seems to work fine now. There's no artifacting or anything. It definitely means there's more than likely a loose display connector somewhere in here. I'm afraid to move the thing now. And we've already showed you everything that Leopard can basically show you. I will quickly boot it into Tiger. We won't really do anything with Tiger, but I'll show you the operating system. And in the future, we'll definitely need to come back to this system to fix it and to actually upgrade to an SSD, because that would help it a lot, and it may actually perform better. It won't do that disappointing YouTube stuff in the future. So, it's not artifacting right now. It's not hot. It's not really artifacting at all. It's just the display connector. I guess when it gets hot, it starts expanding and bad things happen. So we'll try to keep it cool. All right, we are booted into Tiger, and well, there's not a whole lot to show you in Tiger, but we are running Tiger, and it works fine. In fact, the system, now that I smacked the hinge, seems to work. I don't see anything wrong with it now. It's actually working totally fine, so go figure. Let's try to kick Classic on just to see if it works. I think there's a mixture of hard drive issues and it just not being able to pump out the display properly half the time that's making it not happy. But I mean, for a 20-year-old system, it's doing pretty good. So we have Classic running. So, yeah. Tiger works fine. There's not a whole lot to show you on Tiger. I don't think I even have anything, games or anything. You know, I wonder if I had games on Leopard. I think I might have. We may go back to Leopard just to quickly show you some games, because this is a pretty good gamer. I used to game on this on the vintage gaming Mac Lounge group we have. Apparently never gamed Unreal 04 on this, but I did game Unreal 99, and it was the OS9 version. So let's boot this into OS9. Now before we boot it into OS9, since this is an unsupported Mac, if we go to Startup Disk, we can't choose it because the ROM will not allow you to. But we can boot it from the Start menu, the Boot menu. And then if we want it to always start in OS9, we can actually select it in OS9 to boot. Alright, we are booting into OS9. To make OS9 work on an early 2003, I think every early 2003 Mac can boot OS9 by using the OS9 Lives image. This is the 2013 special edition, and to make it work you need a special boot ROM like the iMac ROM, which this is running. Every Mac can do it that's an early 03, except the early 03 iMac G4, for some reason, even though it's the same GPU as in the 2002 models, it, for some reason, will not do hardware acceleration. But this will, and it's the same GPU, I think. They're both MX4s. So, go figure. But it works. To install OS9 into one of these systems, that is the Bluetooth. We'll just not worry about that right now. To get OS9 to install on this, you need a supported Mac. Of course, any Mac with FireWire in it that was made before 2003. At least a Mac that natively supports OS9. And then what you need to do is format the whole drive and set up OS9 first. That's what I'd recommend anyway. You want to format the drive with this thing right here in target disk mode. And then you have to use the supported Mac to format this drive with OS9 drivers installed. And then you can have it all formatted out, and you install OS9 through the supported Mac, and then you will boot into the OS that's whatever OS your main OS you have on the supported Mac. While this is still in target disk mode, you change the ROM file to the iMac ROM, and then just unplug it, press the power button on this thing, start it up. It should boot right into OS9 and just work. And that's exactly what I did, and it just works. Now, there are some drawbacks about using OS9 on this. Like earlier when I talked about the speaker problem. To make the speakers work, they're not doing anything. That is max, it's not making any noise, okay? So if we use our dongle here and plug it into the headphone jack, now it works fine. And that's just one problem, that it thinks the speakers are headphones for some reason. The next problem, no Wi-Fi card. No Wi-Fi card support. It does not support Airport Extreme in OS9. It never did. In fact, some of the OS9 supported Emacs, the last ones, had Airport Extreme cards in them, so they didn't have Wi-Fi in OS9. This is the same situation. And the Ethernet port. The Ethernet port, which is the only way you can get networking in OS9 on this system, is a gigabit port, I think, or it's a 10100. I can't remember which. But it only runs at base 10 speeds. So, 10 megabit per second. It's slow, but still quick enough for online usage if you want to play like Unreal Tournament. You can do that. And you'll also be able to use Classilla and all that stuff, and it will just work. It just will do it slowly. But it will work. And all the rest of the hardware past that is 100% compatible. I can't think of anything else that doesn't work on this system. I mean, minus the Bluetooth. Of course, that doesn't work either. Bluetooth stacks never existed in Mac OS 9. Someone did try to develop one, but it just never panned out. So Bluetooth, of course, doesn't work either. That was what that USB error was when it started up. So we've got OS 9 running. What can we do with it? Just to show you that this is fully supported here. If you, right down there, if you have this on just basic display drivers, it will only go up to 256 color. This is doing millions of colors, and it's at the full screen resolution of the 17-inch screen, which is awesome. Which means you can play OS 9 games in really high resolution. We're going to open up Unreal Tournament, which I hope still works on here. I haven't ran this copy since like 2018. We'll just see if it works. Go grab a mouse and turn the lights out here. Where is my keyboard?
In 2291, in an attempt to control
So before we do this, my mouse isn't working. And that's because in OS 9, when you have a program open, sometimes it doesn't do anything when you plug something in until you get back into OS 9. And now the mouse works. So let's reopen the Unreal Tournament. We'll speed through this real quick, and we'll take it from there. I don't think that's the right screen resolution. We've got everything set up on max, everything, with the right acceleration, all this stuff. So let's just do a regular practice session. Essentially put this down to some of the manageable, like 7. Okay, let's try 10 bots, see if it will do that, and start. This is going to go really quick with 10 bots. And as we can see, everything looks really good. Look at that. This is the ultimate OS 9 gaming computer, like I said. It did not kill a person, really? Oh, shoot. Yep, I figured that.
Target eliminated. Loser.
It just works. So, it's awesome. Well, let's do one more real quick. Because this is the reason why people love this machine. It can game OS9 games amazingly well. Oh, shoot. Wow.
Try a bigger gun.
And I lost that one. But anyway, you get the idea. It just works. So, yeah. Other than the screen issue we had earlier, this thing just works. It does everything it needs to do. And there's the iMic ROM right there. That's a mouthful to say. It sees it's got DDR in it, and I mean, it just works. It works totally fine. It works really well. And this is a great Mac to finish the season out with. We'll definitely be coming back to it probably next season to actually fix it so it stops freaking out like it was doing earlier. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy here. It came out proper to finish up the video at least. I do want to show you what it will do in a modern day world sometime soon, but of course we know it's a little sick right now, and I don't want to push it any further than it already is right now. So we'll just leave it at that. The amazing thing, this thing even shows the battery info on it. The battery's actually showing up on here. Like I said, all the hardware is 100% supported other than the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the Ethernet speed, and the speakers thinking that they're actually headphones. But, I mean, you saw it play a game, and it played it great, and it will play it online incredibly well. I used to play Unreal on this all the time, because you don't need super fast internet speeds to play Unreal Tournament on OS9, because it was just designed for slow internet speeds to begin with. So the Ethernet speed problem isn't a problem in OS9. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm glad it actually turned out right, and there isn't going to be an episode 21. This is the last episode of the season. I hope you guys enjoyed this season. It lasted a lot longer than I wanted it to, but, you know. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was very enjoyable to watch this thing do what it does. Don't forget, I do now have a Patreon if you'd like to support me and even see these videos a day early, sometimes even earlier than that. Hop on there and check it out. And there'll be a link in the end of the video and also in the description below. And yeah, a great season ending here. So yes, this has been a Hrutkay Mods video. See you guys later. Bye.